inclination was to avoid this topic altogether, but people were saying, Deb, you really need to address this. And so, I mean, if you have enough people saying something, I was like, okay, well, let me take a look at this and see what the heck is going on. So I started taking a look at this new conflict. Rappers, I don't know why, they always got their mouths running talking about something that they really don't need to talk about. They don't really, they're not like intellectual giants. And so they run around and they say all this stuff that makes absolutely no damn sense. And then people, it gets repeated and becomes a thing. So what we have lately is an interview that took place on a Houston radio station with one of their own, a rapper named Slim Thug. Slim Thug. Okay, now he said some things about, I mean, just basically dumb shit. That's what he did. He said some mind-bogglingly dumb shit about Ciara, the singer Ciara, and Russell Wilson, the Seattle Seahawks football player that she married. Now, there was already conflict about it before they even got married. People were, and a lot, I really was surprised at even how many women were joining in with these men saying that, she shouldn't have a right to have a husband like that. And, she been run through and she a baby mama and all this old stuff. And, it was just kind of horrific to see the crabs in a barrel mentality that was going on. But I've somewhat have come to expect the bitch assness of black men lately. I just don't know really what to say about it. They act more stupid about what some other man does with his money and his dick than women do. It's like it's just fucking unbelievable. It's like, are these dudes all gay? What the hell is going on here? So I'm looking at this and I'm like, okay, they went to social media and they just want to attack Ciara just incessantly. It's just unbelievable. So, what was said? Okay, so he's on this radio station. Somehow I don't know how he got on the subject because I didn't hear the whole thing. I just heard this clip. And he says, do a woman who used to talk to Future really want a Russell Wilson? And he says, I don't believe it. I think it's all for financial stability. Then he proceeded to call Russell corny and a square. And, basically he was poking fun at him and calling him lame in comparison to Future. Now, I'm trying to figure out what, what he was thinking. It's like in his mind, no black woman can go from being cheated on, having a man who just does all kind of doggish shit to her, won't marry her, leaves her as a baby mama, acts a complete fool on social media, attacking her like a little bitch. And they think, he really thinks that that's something that somebody would want after experiencing that is somebody who is superior in any way to Russell Wilson. See, that's why I say rappers are not intellectual giants, and they really don't think too well. I don't know, maybe it's all the weed they smoke or something. I'm not really sure what the problem is, but every time I hear a quote from one of them, it's just eye-rollingly dumb. It's just, you really would have done better to stay on a microphone somewhere singing or rapping or whatever you do instead of trying to become a philosopher or a, sociologist, because that's not your skill set. So anyway, so let's move on. So, and these guys were, I mean, you see, I can't even talk because it's so stupid. I just was wondering, okay, so why are black men so concerned with what this man does and what Ciara does? And I came to three conclusions. One is, the number one reason I think is that they claim that black women, there's a group of black men, that basically they're losers, okay? They can't get pussy if it was flying by and they couldn't get none. And so they want to have this, they want to run around and talk about, black women, only want thugs. And that's why nice guys like me can't get somebody, and then they only want us, including themselves, after they've been run through and have 4 or 5 kids and all these baby daddies and blah, blah, blah. And don't nobody want a ready-made family. They just go on and on and on. So when you have somebody like Russell Wilson, he totally shoots that all those statements in the foot, right? So he eliminates their belief system that that's all women want. So if you're faced with a direct conflict to your rhetoric, somebody that you can see the example of it in every picture you see. Both of them, they showing hella teeth. So obviously, there something is going on right in their relationship. I'm thinking these guys are jealous because it's you got to look at it. If you're saying that this is the reason why you can't get what you want, it's because they don't choose you because they want, this other thing, this negative thing. And then you have a woman who turned her back on that negative thing and went with the good thing. Well, what does that do with your theory that you can't get a woman? Like, I mean, and Ciara is like gorgeous. I mean, that girl got it all: talent, beauty. I mean, and then now she got a rich husband who's cute, and she got two little cute kids. You know what I mean? She got it going on. She's not looking back at Future and thinking about that fool, because she realized with Future she didn't have a future, so she moved on. But that makes these guys panic, right? Because now they have to face the reality that the problem isn't the women, it's them. So they can't blame shift anymore. That's sending them into a panic. Okay, that's my reason number one. Okay, then for point number two, they want to attack and demean black women that make a mistake. Okay, so you hadn't made a mistake, you was young and you was silly and you got caught up and you had this baby. So they want to reject women like that as irrelevant. And Sierra's little baby Future, was loved and taken care of and paraded around and just really treated well by Russell long before him and Sierra got even engaged. And the brothers went crazy. They were like, oh, this ready-made family. And, she run through, they say that again. And they also, just were attacking him for having the affection and willingness to love a woman that had a child. I thought this was just really some unbelievable bitch shit from allegedly grown men. I'm telling you, this whole thing about how they have responded to her marriage that doesn't involve them in any way is just fucking amazing to me. I just have never seen so many bitch made men in my life. It's just disgusting. So and then no, he didn't have any children of his own. So anyway, when you see a guy who's a nice guy who's rich, didn't have any kids of his own, willingly embrace a woman and her child with like an open heart and love and everything, well, that totally blows up in smoke their idea that these kind of women have no value, because that was what they were saying. Oh, she ain't worth nothing, blah, blah, blah. And so he saw lots of value in her. And this is a quality man. So it kind of makes them pause and say, well, we're spouting all this rhetoric, but obviously, there's some holes in it. And here's a guy who is showing us that there's a hole in it. So then you go back to what Ciara said. Okay, so, dude said his little statements. And of course, it made its way to her. And Ciara clapped back on her Instagram, right? And she's like, let me tell you something, Holmes. Repeating the same bad habit over and over again is a form of insanity. There comes a point in your life when you know better and you have to do better. You owe it to yourself. It's just that simple. So then she came back, because he's saying that Russell Wilson was like corny in a square and he was lame and, like Future was like the shit and all this old stuff. And so Ciara broke down what cool was, in her mind now that she changed her, her focus and her way of what am I trying to say? Her way of screening men. Well, who's going to be appropriate for her? What does she want for her future? She changed her whole perspective. And that's when she came up with that hashtag level up, right? So she comes back and she explains what's cool, what a cool dude is in her new way of interacting with males. A man that's God fearing, a man that carries himself as though you are in his presence, even if you're not. A man that's honorable, a man that you can grow with and learn from, a man that treats people with respect, a man that puts his family first, a man that makes you laugh, a man who understands the importance of financial responsibility, a man that is compassionate, A man who's confident and wants to see you succeed. A man who sees beauty in your scars. Okay, that is, I mean, it practically makes me cry because that is, well, except for the God fearing part, at least for me, that's the kind of man that women want. That's him. Russell Wilson is that dude. And I'm looking at all the pictures of him and I'm like, okay, where is it that he's so corny and, square and stuff? I mean, you would never say, oh, he's so fly, he's so this and that. But he's not ugly. He's a handsome guy. And obviously he got his shit together. And obviously he got some money. And obviously he got some talent. And obviously he got some education. And obviously he got Ciara, which none of you bitch ass niggas could even get. You could even smell her scent. Okay, and he's married her and tapping that every night. That's the thing I think is the main problem. They jealous as fuck. They don't know what to do with themselves. Okay, so anyway, that's how Ciara, addressed it in a very classy, elegant way. She just totally shot him down in her, very Christian, wifely way. Okay, so now let's move on to my point number three. Now, well, as I've said before, like she just expressed, women grow up. Like, they want a different kind of guy. They want a different dude. And these low level roach motherfuckers are very threatened by that. Because you got to look at the numbers, okay? You look at the numbers of black men that's locked up in prison, and when they get out, they want to, live off of somebody with Section 8 who lets them live with them. You knock them up and leave them. All this kind of just trifling shit that they get away with. And they think that, I mean, for a lot of young women, they grow up in, these urban areas. And so that thug image is what they see. That's all the boys want to emulate that because they think that's what the women want. They look at the rappers and they think the rappers get all the, beautiful women because they don't realize that those women are cast in a video and they're performers, entertainers. That's not their real women. And even if it was, don't you think that they have to pay? That's how they get tapped for child support. They be fucking around with all these different bras, and then they get hit up for six, seven, eight, $12,000 a month child support, and then suddenly shit don't be looking so fun, does it? Then they're going to cry about their money, but it's like you should have kept your dick in your pants. You would have had a problem. So it's Russell kept his money, and he kept his dick where it belonged, and Russell kept his money. He didn't have no problems like that. So these guys think that, the thug image is where it's at. And I think a lot of young women, they get excited by that at first because they're young and silly. But then, at some point, she's going to grow up. She's going to change and she's going to start refocusing her energy and she's going to start looking for a mate versus somebody for fun. Fun is the boyfriend, mate is the husband. And when you make that switch in whatever age you make it, it's usually the early to mid 20s for most women. The kind of guy that you used to like, the thuggy, tatted up, looking crazy fool, that doesn't interest you anymore. You're not trying to be bothered with that. You ain't hearing that. Instead, you start looking for, you used to put them street dudes down, and you start looking for a man who has some integrity, who treats you with respect, who, if you have any kid, he loves your kids just like he loves you. He's somebody who's kind and generous and successful. Rich doesn't hurt either, and got some damn sense and educated and has principles. And if God is important to you, then you want a man that walks in Christ and all that stuff. Okay, so to put it simply, guys like Russell are a solid threat to these guys' lifestyle. That whole thug image and how they, think that they can get all the women and be talking tough and calling women horrible names and all this kind of stuff. And so when women stop responding to it, you get reactions like we see all the time, increasing violence against women because they're furious that their little tricks that are not working anymore as women get smarter and turn away from that kind of nonsense and start wanting a man that's about something. So see, these niggas are just so upset because it's gonna mean for them to continue getting pulling from the pussy pond, they are gonna have to get their shit together and change, and they don't want to do that. So rather than change themselves and make themselves into men that women would like, would be honored to have in their life, they instead want to attack women for wanting more and better. That's what it is. So they're trying to make you feel guilty because they feel threatened at your growth. They're just a bunch of ain't shit niggas. They know they ain't shit, but they're not trying to improve themselves. Instead, they just want you to continue to accept their nonsense and give them everything that they want without them having to do anything to earn it. And so, this if this trend, basically, from my perspective, if this trend of this leveling up thing that she's been promoting continues, these black men who want to live off of women and who don't want to provide, they don't want to protect, they basically are failures at manhood. They're failures at uh, life, period. And they're gonna have to change. They don't have nothing to show for their years of being on this planet, and they're gonna be eradicated from the dating and relationship pool. So that's really what's that's making them terrified. So they know they're not gonna get no respect. They're not gonna get street cred. They're not gonna get nothing as more and more men realize this really ain't about nothing. I'm trying to please a bunch of dudes, and I need to be thinking about my future. What am I gonna leave? What's my legacy? What am I gonna leave for my children that I have? Stuff like that. They're gonna need to change their perspective. So they're gonna know, to get a woman equality, they're gonna have to to move themselves along, and that give a brother a chance shit is gonna fall on deaf ears because no woman is gonna want to be bothered with them. That's what scares them. They're scared shitless, of course, and that's because that's what Russell and Ciara represent. So if too many black women get their minds right, see like Ciara did, then they know they just gonna be ass out. They not gonna get no trim, nowhere, no kind of way unless they buy it or get it from other dudes that are losers like them. So yeah, these brothers complaining about what some other dude chooses to do with his dick and his money and his life and his marital status. It just makes them, I don't know, these guys do it, just they just sound like little jealous bitches. I don't know any other way to put it. It's like a very female type behavior pattern. Like a woman who's jealous somebody's trying to get her boyfriend or something. It's like, like they're mad somebody took their man or something. I don't know what. It's really just kind of ugh. It just really makes you wonder. So I'm looking at, if you are that worried, dudes, about women refusing to look at you, and you over 30 and you still wear sneakers and jerseys and baseball caps and stuff, and trying to change and walking around here looking like a fool, you better wake up. You want to get you want to put down women because you think that's going to make yourself feel like a man, and you think that calling women degrading names and sexist names is going to make you feel like a man. Well, all you're going to do is end up with each other. That's all you're going to have, because women, all the women who used to see you as a man or as something that they wanted, will finally see you as the toxic, poisonous snake that you are. And that's going to make you undesirable. You're gonna be left behind. And the very thought that if enough women change their perspective and do like Ciara did, if women start listening to her and doing this level up thing, they know they're gonna be ass out, and they are scared shitless. So those are my three. That's my perspective on this whole Slim Thug, Ciara, Russell Wilson thing. I haven't listened to anybody else's videos or anything on it. It's just what I was reading online of what he said, and I saw a radio clip, like a clip of him actually saying it, and I was like, wow, this is kind of special. But he's not known for being the brightest bulb in the box, so it's kind of what we would expect. Anyway, I will be back later tonight, and tonight we have what you call it, the advice thing on the YouTube channel. So I will be back talking about responding rather to relationship advice questions. And I hope you can join me. That'll be 6 o'clock Pacific time. And I'll see you then. This is Deb Cooper from survivingdating.com signing out.